Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Du Plessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Well, hello there and welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, and today with me, I have a really remarkable woman. I just met her. We were both speaking on an event. Her name is Krystal Vernee, and she just caught my eye, and I said, you got to be on the show. We definitely have to meet. And she's, it's so fun when we're on these summits and these, virtual speaking things to actually meet someone who's in our own neck of the woods. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So close.
That's so fun. So Krystal, welcome to the show. I'm so delighted to hear what you have to say today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. I can't wait to have the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell everybody a little bit about you. You are a serial womanpreneur, author, speaker, business coach, and brand strategist. And you are the CEO of Simply She, which you've had for over 20 years in the entrepreneurship space. And you're really passionate about empowering women specifically. But listen here, men, when I have people that work with women come on here, I always remind you to share this with your woman, or you'll learn something too, because I have men that come on here and only work with men, and I do the same thing. So, but she's passionate about empowering women and providing them the support they need to transform their passion into profits. And that is a huge thing for all of us, isn't it? This thing that we have called passion that we really want to do, and how to maneuver and go through that blueprint and that roadmap of making money. And we have every right to do that, right? We have every right to make money from our passion. She encourages others to tap into her zone of genius through her signature program, book, podcast, and TV show called The Brand Build Her Blueprint. She teaches entrepreneurs how to monetize their expertise and create multiple streams of income so that you can build a profitable and sustainable business. Now, the thing that's most important about this for me is that you work primarily and specifically with funnels, right?
Yes.
With creating funnels. Now, I normally don't have people come on the show about funnels because I can't stand them. As I'm sure most entrepreneurs can't, because it's a lack of knowledge around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though I spent money with a coach who taught me about funnels, I learned that I don't want to do funnels. I don't like them. I don't want to look at them. I don't know what's going to be attractive. I don't know about the subject lines. I don't know all the little connection things. So that's why I wanted to bring you on here, because the time has come. I mean, we've got to get our hands wrapped around this. And we've got to do something that will differentiate us in the space of, social media platform. It's now noisy. For a while it was great because Facebook and Instagram and everybody wanted you to, to join and get the usership up. And now, in order for your clients, your prospects, even your family members to see what you're doing, right? Anything that you're doing, there's so much noise out there, and they now want you to pay in order for you to, to be seen. So we've got to do something a little different. So number one, because this is the biggest concern I have, Krystal, and then we'll talk about your past and all this stuff. Sure. But the biggest concern I have in the whole funnel thing, and especially with being on summits and even being willing to participate in these list builders and things like that, is that I'm boring the heck out of my database. And I know, like Grant Cardone sends 3 or 4 emails a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to unsubscribe because there might be something I do want to look at.
Right.
Pretty rarely, but I don't want to unsubscribe. So I just have him as junk. And then every day I go through my junk and go, okay, what Grant had to say. I have another colleague who does that same thing. He just inundates with, hey, I want to share with this product and this friend of mine, and I'm doing an event and I'm doing a course. So how do we avoid, it's like a 2 feet forward and 1 feet back. If we're going to grow our database, right? That's really the biggest concern, is my database saying, I'm done with you. Stop promoting. Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's there's a couple things that you can do and that I can do. And one of the things that I highly recommend entrepreneurs to do is actually focus on the community aspect of that. So if we think about it from a perspective of actually being in person, because a lot of folks we are in the online space. But I happen to have a business also that's brick and mortar. And I like to
Right.
think of my database as a community, and I talk to them just like I would talk to someone who walked into my studio and asked them. I actually asked them, like, well, how do you feel about what you're receiving on my list? What would you like to see more? What would you like to see less of? I think part of it too is that, like you said, some of it is a necessary evil to grow your list in the sense of that's a part of being in business. But um, actually treating your list like a community of people will go a long way versus always just sell, 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 sell. So I like to have a mixture of here's something that's actually going to help you or be beneficial to your business. And then, occasionally you have something that, is monetized. But I think focusing on the community aspect and how you can serve over constantly pitching because and also some things that I do is I segment my list for myself in my inbox. So depending on who it's coming from, if I know this person, let's say I'm following someone that does a lot of events and I know I like to speak a lot, I have it go to my events folder. So I'm like kind of even organizing my inbox as it comes in and like I'll go through and check and then, delete what I don't want and keep what I want. So I think there has to be some of that where in the past that wasn't really necessary because like you said there wasn't so much competition but I think ultimately what keeps people opening your emails is when they find things useful and I think that is and for you to know that you have to touch base and talk to them.
Yeah. And I hear this a lot because, I coach entrepreneurs as well. And they, just even talking about putting videos on the the internet, social media, like putting videos out on social media, including videos in any emails that they're doing. And the biggest thing that they say is, well, I don't know what the content is. And I know how I respond to my clients about content. I mean, I think it's crazy that people think they don't have content. How do you respond to people saying that they don't have any content out there? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to.
uh, well usually usually that just resolves in us having a conversation. Well, I say, well, what would you normally say to someone who asks about what you do? And I just kind of listen to them and I'm just, quietly taking notes. I'm like, okay, so if I ask you this question, what would you say? So I kind of do like an interview back
Yeah,
and forth or like a banter. And then after, maybe like, let's just say we could do 5 minutes, maybe not even that. And then I go through and I say, look, all of these things are pieces of content. You could make a blog about this. You could do a 1 minute video on this and just kind of pointing out to them how like there's so much content in their life. Oh, you went traveling last week. So for example, I had a client, she went to England.
mhm,
And she is wanting to be a coach for speakers over 40. And so, she went to visit Shakespeare's theater and just kind of what does that have to do with speaking, and she wants to talk about speaking dramatically. I'm like, you were in Shakespeare's theater, like you did a whole video. You can talk about how stage presence and how you can like communicate with your body language and like performers back then they didn't have microphones, so like how were they communicating their emotion and what they were saying through their talk. And I was like, that's a whole like that was
and
like a 50
projecting
pieces of
your voice.
content.
Yeah, projecting your voice and then, suggesting a product that is good for speakers, right? To spray in their
Yeah.
mouth or whatever, and it's all obvious to us as we're sitting here, right?
Yeah.
But, it's increasing the awareness of the content that you have, available.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, and I do this. We're asked questions all day long, and that becomes content, right? These are the
Yeah.
questions we're asking our clients and our colleagues, and this, that, and the other. And yeah, I think that that's really important. So, let's talk about how you got into this, because you notice I haven't said anything about your past. because everyone's going, okay, so she's, a digital marketer. She helps people with funnels. She's really, does more than digital marketing, obviously, because it's not about all the ads. It's about creating the funnels and the landing pages. But so you come from a very, I come from this kind of background too, very corporate, very compliance oriented,
Yeah.
very stiff. You have to wear fancy clothes all the time. Um, which I don't have to buy anymore, which I really love.
I know, right?
And hopefully they'll last for years and years. Hopefully they're staples. But you come from the federal government and
Mhm.
negotiating contracts and doing contractor work.
Yes.
How did you take, and by the way, you own a brick and mortar yoga, Pilates, silk
Pole dancing. Yeah.
acrobatic thing, you own this place. Is this like the right brain, left brain thing that you were just always, wanting to be, like out? Or is it, that you apply these skills to everything that you're doing? So tell us a little bit about your story. We can go back further, how'd you get into the government? I mean,
Yeah.
why, by the way? I was gonna go work for Freddie Mac and I interviewed with them and they had like 17 interviews and I'm like, oh my God, you guys can't make a decision. Help me here. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned the right brain and left brain. I've actually kind of always been that way. Even as a child, there's like I have this creative side to me, and then I have this very logical side. So I was very good at science and math. So my degree is in engineering, actually. So one of the things I call myself the marketing engineer because that's my, who would have thought that I would be here. But I think for me, I kind of always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so that was that creative side, like bursting and like ready to come out. And right out of college, I went and got a sales job. I did very, very well, 100% commission. Who does that at like 22?
35 years.
Yeah, right. My mom was furious, right? Ivy League education, right into 100% sales. She was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah,
But I had a goal, and I was like, I have to learn how to sell in order
yeah,
to run a business. That was like my thought process. But meanwhile, growing up, while I had this creative side, I did like band. I always wanted to dance. I didn't always get to do the creative things because my family, they're educators. And so education was the path to success. And so that was the path that I was directed to go
mhm,
down. So as an adult, I was like, I want to do both things. I think that I should be able to be smart and do, engineer type things, but also express my creativity. And after going into sales and doing well there, it's life changes, right? Life happens. I got married, and unfortunately, my ex husband gave me the ultimatum of if you don't get a full time job, I'm not going to marry you. And, I was young and I was like, well, okay, because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. Little girls go to school, get a good job, get married and have kids, and that's it, right? That's what we do. So that was the path that I was kind of on. And so I got a job and I started to contract for the federal government. I did very well. Um, Worked my way all the way up to the C suite, but in the back of my mind, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so even though I had a lot of negativity thrown at me, you're never going to be able to make it. I was okay. I'm doing this studio thing. I'm going to open it. And I don't think people understand. Like when you say negativity, we can say it lightly, but just having someone tell you every day that you're never going to make it and that what you're doing is stupid, and still having to like kind of fight through that. But my business ended up being very successful, and all the while I'm gaining the skills in corporate, like learning how to write proposals, negotiate with the government, run cross-functional teams. I had a team of over 150 by the time I left. And I was very good at my job. We started to get work because I was the project manager, no
yeah,
other reason, and
yeah, that
um,
reputation. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. It was like, we have a new project. We want to give it to you because we want to see what you can do with it. And we know that we've heard that you get good results. And, that was a huge win for me, but I also wanted to do my own thing. And it was time to let that go for someone else and just kind of bring that into the fold and do everything on my own. in transitioning. And after I divorced, that was when I really started to get into coaching, because as when I was married, I felt like I had lost my voice and my sense of self. And for someone who's gone through that and like knowing what that's like, I didn't want that for other women. And also just kind of showing people that it's possible to have a business and have it pay your bills and be successful. And it's okay to want, to have finances, be stable, be more than, like have an abundance in your life, and just be an example. So that was kind of like my transition to saying, okay, both feet in for entrepreneurship, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do it big, and no one's going to stop me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And, I mean, so many women go through that process. One of my books is called Tell Me I Can't, for that very reason, because it's not don't tell me I can't, because that's confrontational. It's go ahead, tell me,
Yeah,
watch what I do. Tell me,
exactly.
get out of the way, right? And I see that thread kind of coming through you, as well. And, I love that you've got this double-sided tape, so to speak, of your life, and it's all sticky. All of it works. All of it really works. And, I think that's really powerful. So why specifically into funnels? Maybe it's engineering. My degree's in engineering too, so I get it. I get the systematic process piece, but why funnels in entrepreneurship? Why teach someone funnels rather than, with your skill in negotiating contracts, your skill in negotiating on brick and mortar, your contracts as well, right? Why not go into something, and especially you said selling. I think this is something that so many entrepreneurs lack. For 40 years, I sold mortgages, 100% commission, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people lack the sales skills,
Yeah.
basic sales skills. Why not go in that direction, because it's still business, it's still a process, it's creative, right? Where you have to kind of, ooh, I could go this angle or that angle or solve this problem. Why funnels? What drew you to that?
I think for me, funnels are everywhere. I just want to preface that whether you have an online business or you don't, you actually are using a funnel, a sales funnel of some kind. I'm getting excited, right? So.
All of a sudden, if you're not, look, if you're not watching the video, she just started lighting up. Her beautiful white teeth are like, I can't wait to talk about funnels. I can't.
So I think for me, it's more so the process and system aspect of it. So that's where my engineering comes in, and that like you need this
Yeah.
regardless. Like this is something that is not going to go away. And I think for me, it became ever so clear coming into the online space and realizing how the money was actually made, right?
Yeah.
Because people like post on social media. I'm like, there's a gap there, because that's not what I do on the brick and mortar side. That makes no sense. Like, what is
Right.
happening?
Right.
So, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sales funnel, got it, right? But then I realized how many entrepreneurs I feel were especially in the online space or whatever, are starting at a disadvantage because they don't have that set up.
Yeah.
So we talked about how noisy the marketplace is. And if you're trying to run your business on post-it notes and spreadsheets, you already have set yourself behind. Even the person who has no experience that has this set up properly, the proper systems in place, you're like 100 steps behind them. And after coaching folks, working with a few people, and like kind of seeing they, like you, have no interest
Yeah.
in building the funnel. It is something that you need to run your business. However, I feel like just seeing it takes people a long time to learn it and do it and get it right. Just things get in the way. So I was like, well, what if I just did it for people?
Yeah.
Like the hard part, because the tech part can be a blocker for people in like starting to run their business. So what if I just took the hard part away, and what you need to focus on is your zone of genius. The funnel is not it doesn't necessarily have to be your zone of genius. And so just, and I guess also too, in keeping with that, giving people a complete solution. A lot of what I see in the space is incomplete solutions. You go to one person to do your
You get
offer.
technical and you go to someone else and you get the creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I experienced that. And that's why, I will admit my funnels are horrible. I've got, I think, 13, 17 different funnels, and they're broken. We find links don't work. They're not getting the results. They're not attractive. Oh, I'm missing a key part.
Mhm.
It's a step from a free thing to, 25,000. I'm joking. That's not that. But I'm
Yeah.
being, it's missing some of the key steps in it to nurture the community, rather than, hey, here's the free thing, do you want to buy? Here's the free thing, do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Right. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I was asking, about that. And I think that, my job is to coach people to scale their business. Someone else who's listening, their job is to coach someone on how to be more healthy, someone
Mhm.
else on how to overcome and have breakthroughs. It is not to do this part. And, as a scaling coach, and I talk about building world-class teams, the struggle to find someone who can build this world-class funnel, I think, is a bigger challenge in today's market.
Yeah, it is, because I do think, like, after working with a few people and then being coached by others and just kind of seeing, I'm like, okay, I can clearly see the problem is incongruence.
Yeah.
What you're marketing on the front end does not match what you're trying to do on the back end. It does not match what you're doing in the middle, and also all these other things that are
Yeah.
going on that I have no clue what's happening.
Well,
And
it's all the voices from the
yeah,
variety of different, coaches, and it's not even just coaches, products, services, software that have been accumulated over all the years. And now what we have is a cluster mess.
yes,
Right?
you have
That's what, and
Walmart.
then people give up. And then people give up and say, well, I can't, I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, it's like a flea market. You have like everything. I tell people like, do you want to be the flea market or do you want to be like the Mercedes Benz, Louis Vuitton type of like what type of experience do you want to provide? And just make it logical. It has to be a no-brainer and kind of getting people to see like the trajectory. So that's why I kind of got into that because I was like, okay, if you have a cohesive product suite and we can take away the tech piece of it and we can like do the market research, make sure you're talking to the right people, it will be that much easier for you to scale once you have gotten something that's working. But because you're trying to figure out what's working, you're putting all the things in there and you don't even
Yeah.
know like which one is up, which way is up.
Well, it's like, Sharon Lechter. I mean, she's a friend of mine. I just spoke to her yesterday. In fact, I'll be seeing her on another event I'm doing today. She and Dr. Greg Reed, who founded Secret Knock, who's a dear friend of mine as well, they wrote 3 feet from gold, and what ends up happening is we get 3 feet and then we just change. And then we
Yeah.
change it again. And then oh, the shiny object syndrome. We go, oh, this is what I should do. I should definitely use AI, but because I don't have people don't have the all-in experience in AI, it kind of gets, mushed with the previous editor, creative writer person too, and there's somebody we know like Alexia. I love her because she writes great content. But now, how is that mixing? And I'm not using her. She's wonderful. She's wonderful. A little plug for Alexia. No, she is, because I've used her before. But when I decide, oh, well, I'm going to change her stuff and I'm going to insert a little AI in there, now it gets all
Yeah.
messed up again.
Hmm.
Right? It gets all messed up again. And I think this is one of the challenges that entrepreneurs just constantly have, is the influx of new ideas and not having someone to go to say, how can I apply that new idea to keep this train moving forward instead of destroying it as I'm moving forward. And
Exactly.
this is why I wanted to bring you on, because I knew that you had this creative soft side and this engineering side, which I have, and I get it. I totally get it. And hopefully if you're listening, you get that too. Is, one of my phrases is mindset plus mechanics equals momentum.
Hmm.
You have to
Exactly.
have both. And when
Yeah.
you're all mechanical and you don't have the creative, nurturing piece of these funnels, it's not momentum. And,
Right.
and if all you have is, it's fun, I promise I'm going to help you, and it's fun, but you don't have a mechanism to deliver, you don't have the momentum,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So the great Les Brown says this, and then here's my follow-up question. The great Les Brown says this. He says, if you do what's hard, your life will be easy. If you do what's easy, your life will be hard.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of speaking with him and Les Brown Jr. Before COVID. I was on their faculty. And what I learned about this quote, and I talk about this when I speak all the time, but what I learned about this quote is doing hard is not putting in the hours and hitting your head against the wall and, working late and saying no to your clients because you have to have to work on a technical piece, saying no to your family because you're still working really hard. That won't make your life easier. That's going to be more hard work.
Yeah.
It is putting in the hard work for a short period of time so that the rest of it can be easy. And that's what I learned from that. And I think people, especially entrepreneurs, they're like, okay, I'll just work really hard and then it'll be easy. No, it's putting in the hard work. How much hard work has to be put in when someone wants to work with you so that they can then be easy?
That is a great question. And I don't think I've been asked that. So I'm very much I tell it like it is. And I'm very honest with people. And one of the things I like to do is really ask people like, how vested are you really in this business? Is
Mhm.
this something that you see that you want to take full time? Is it just going to be a side hobby? Because that tells me, like, kind of right away, like how hard they're going to work. Because yes, I can do the tech part for you. I can do your market research. I can give you that strategy to help you launch this thing and take it to the next level. But if you don't do your own part,
Mhm.
it's not going to make a difference. So
Yeah.
I think for me, and it's not like you said, it's not like a number of hours. It's not because that's gonna look different for everybody. So I can't say if you do 30 days of hard work, you're gonna do it. But I think for me, what it boils down to is are you ready to consistently work on your business? So consistently put out content, however that, like we can say that would work for you, right? Talk to your audience, promote the thing, actually make the offer, and do the revenue generating activities that are going to drive your business forward. So you can't do it hard for a week and then take a break for 3 weeks. So like that's not going to work. I would say, you know, I'm very vested in all of my businesses. And I'm like, okay, so, this is about, and this is about, I do, about an hour of time blocking for content every week. And, it takes me about this long to do copy. So I give them like ballpark time frames. It's like, how much time do you actually have to work on your business? And then I'm like, hey, you know, you're probably going to have to put in more hours up front. But once the lead generation machine gets working, then you just have to keep the momentum going. But getting people over that hump and just being honest, like there is going to be more work up front, right? That's actually part of the evergreen process of getting the hard work done up front and letting it work for you on the back end. And then letting them know, like, don't take your foot off the gas, but you want to evenly coast. Once things start working, don't ever stop doing this process. And I just kind of give them like, here's about how much time you're going to need, and
Yeah.
you adjust that based upon the results that you get in your business. But I think it's a living,
It's a living, breathing thing. It's not a
yeah,
set.
it's organic. Yeah,
Right. It's not a set it and forget it. And I really appreciate your honesty because someone's listening and going, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to put that time in. That's fine. Then dedicate your time to doing something else,
yeah,
and don't focus on funnels. Find another way to nurture your community. Maybe it's texting, maybe it's phone calls all the time. Maybe you have to network all the time, but it's still work. You're still using time and energy and effort. You're just allocating it to a different place. And, I say do all of it, right? Do all of it.
yeah,
Because in that hour of time that you're creating content, you could be spending an hour of time trying to figure out how to get clients. You could be spending your time going, I don't know what to do. I've had it with this. I'm sick of it. Why not stop saying that and let's start focusing on the thing that you should be doing, to help do this. And
exactly.
I love that you're saying that. And really, this is true business. This is, what business is all about. is not just superficially doing it. And if that's the case, well, hey, let me use the great Les Brown again. He says, if you're casual about your business will become a casualty.
Ooh. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's very accurate. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. You know, you have to make that decision, that line in the sand that says, that's it. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm over it, and I'm ready to move on. And, you know, I talk about this on the podcast all the time. You know, my mantra is stop working in and on your business so you can live above and beyond your business. This is the on part that you want to work on, do the hard work, put the hard work in so that you can be above and beyond your business. If you don't do it, you're going to oscillate between on and in for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And so I love that you're saying this, you know, look, it's not going to be fun, but it's going to get done. And
Yes.
when it's done, you know, you're going to have increased profits.
Yeah. And can I just add that I think also too, one of the things that I see when it comes to working, like putting in the work, putting in the hard work, people don't track what's working.
I know. That's it
Like,
from gold. Yeah.
yes, like, so if it's been working for you to network in a certain place, or it's been working for you to post here, or it's been working for you to send, like, keep track of that success and do more of what works and less of what doesn't. That's why I like to give my clients options. It's like you have part of marketing is a science. So I think that's why I also gravitate towards it, because you have to test things, and I'm big on testing it. I'm like, okay, that didn't work, so we're not going to do it. Yeah, but no, it didn't work. Like, let's do this, but this worked for you. So let's do more of that. Let's play around with that and see how that goes. And I'm not gonna lie, like there's some things I put out that have done great, some things I put out that have bombed. That's also a part of entrepreneurship. But the thing about it is like I keep going and I keep testing. I'm like, okay, this worked really well. We'll do this. And to be honest, things in the marketplace change. So what worked today may not work like,
Oh, yeah.
next
Something that
year.
was fantastic all of a sudden isn't working. You're like, wait a minute, why is it working? And we just have that white knuckle effect, you know, where we just hang on to it and say, but it worked before, so it's gonna work again. You know,
Mhm.
and we have that. I mean, you know who did that recently? Was it I think it was McDonald's, and I might be wrong, it might be Burger King or something, when they
Mhm.
came out with the plant-based, right? They came out with a plant-based, and I'm vegetarian, so they came out with a plant-based burger
Yeah.
and it didn't work. It didn't work. And
Mhm.
they measured it and they pulled it back, but they didn't fold. The whole company didn't fold, just that one strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're not going to lose your company by trying something, but you will lose your company by holding on to it too long and having that
Yes.
white knuckle syndrome. I love that. I love that you said that. That's so key. And I think this is why you can't set it and forget it. You've got to constantly manage it. It's a living, breathing thing, and see what works today and see what happens tomorrow, and continue and maneuver through it. So that's beautiful. And I know you've got a gift for my listeners. So tell us a little bit about the gift and what they can expect by getting this gift.
Yeah, so I have the cash flow blueprint, and that is a 500 plus income stream resource. So if you've ever asked the question, what do I sell? Or I don't really know what service I can create, this is like an amazing mini course that can kind of give you some ideas, also organized by industry, and what we've seen to produce the most results for coaches, consultants, online service providers, authors, and speakers. So you can better strategize around what types of formats you can put your products or services in, that your audience may be more receptive to.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. And so it takes all the guesswork out, right? You've already done all the research. So you did what's hard so that it can be
Yes.
easy. This is your evergreen, right? That's why it's
Yes.
called that, like
Yes.
forever green.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that. And what is the if someone wants to work with you, what is the number one way to connect with you?
Number one way is going to be to visit my website, www.isimplyShe.com. And you can just send me an email, info@isimplyShe.com. Yeah, that's the number one way.
Okay, good. And I know there's multitudes of ways. That's
Oh, yeah.
that's why I asked that question, because everyone's like, how do we get in touch with you? Go here, go there, and a confused mind doesn't buy, right? We know that.
Yeah.
So give me one. Give me one way. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Well, I appreciate that you're giving this gift to, to my listeners and that. And I know that you also have some done for you, done with you, and done do it yourself, right? You've
Yes.
got all kinds levels of different ways that people can dip their toe in and start going and figuring things out. So we'll make sure that we have that link below so that people can find very specific things that you're offering using the link that you're going to be providing to me. So I thank you for that. So last thing I want to ask you is, what would you like to leave our listeners with? Is there a quote, a book that you've read, a blog that you saw, or just your own thoughts on how to overcome and get over the hump of funnels?
I'll use my most favorite quote. This actually came from my grandmother, because she was one of my biggest supporters, is do the fearless thing. Do the
Yeah.
fearless thing. So it's kind of like, what needs to be done. So we know what needs in our hearts, we always know what needs to be done, but we have that level of hesitation, whether it's someone chattering in our ear, something that we've seen, or the fear of not being good enough or it going too well. Like
Yeah.
there's all, sides to the spectrum, but if I could leave one thing, it's to do the fearless thing. Whenever I'm afraid, I know the move that I should make next.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And our gut tells us that, right? Our gut will
Mhm.
tell us. And it might not be the funnels that you're talking about today, but it might be something else that you're, contending with right now. And you're like, that's it. I got to get that done, because that opens up the door for looking into, possibly working with Krystal as well. So
Yeah.
I love that. So thank you so much. I thank you so much for your time today. I love what you're doing. I hope to get to your studio one day. I told you I just want to run over there and just kind of see. I'm not a yoga fan. I'm a dancer, right? But maybe I'll do some other kind of dancing. I don't know, whatever's there, but I can't wait to get to your
Yeah.
studio.
Love to have you.
Like the idea of these silky, the things that hang. What is it called? What is the silk thing
So
called?
there's aerial silks.
Aerial. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
That's
you
what I want
could.
to do. I want to get trapped in that little cubby thing, and then you have to come over and get me because I'm stuck. I don't know.
Well, something we can arrange that for sure.
Yeah. Thank you again for giving us all of your great wisdom today. We sure appreciate it, Krystal.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen. Appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen in. And I just want to ask you, please use your thumb, scroll down to the bottom, give us a great 5-star rating, and write something beautiful about what you learned from Krystal today. And with that, don't forget also head on over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can find this and my other podcasts as well. So we will look forward to catching you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Du Plessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.